Thursday.
You happy?
He's happy.
What's up, guys? I thought I would go over the phases for this training block so you guys can follow along on the war on 1K. This is gonna be quite a big difference in strength. I think it'll be like a 130-pound total PR. I'll be competing, I think, in February, was the best meet I could find in like the general time frame. I know I'll have to delay it a little bit, but I also think it gives me a little bit more time to get bigger, stronger muscles. Phase one was our work capacity, or GPP phase, which is the last video. I had a slightly higher frequency. I wasn't on the big Saturday split. I was squatting and deadlifting every week, hard and for a pretty large volume. So we wanted to get in like really good shape, lay a good baseline and foundation. Last video went good. I think I pushed it a little bit hard, a little bit far, and I ended up having to take a deload at the end of it. But honestly, I would say great success on just like feeling like I'm kind of a workhorse than I was to start out. On to phase two, which is our current phase. So normally we would just run up a bunch of total volume. You know, if you've followed my Instagram for a while, it's a lot of those 3 sets of 7 to 10 reps. So for the war on 1K, we actually have a slightly different approach because we know that like it kind of projects to better top end strength. We're just gonna do a bunch of hard, like, you know, big top sets. I think that building volume is probably a slightly better strategy for like long-term success, but you know, I've decided on a pretty hard stuck goal. It's pretty aggressive. So we want to make like display strength as maximally as we can. So for phase two, I have 2 goals. Don't get hurt. Big one. Obviously, it's gonna be really hard to get to 1K if I come out injured. So being really smart with my sessions, you know, not forcing things on sessions that like, you know, is unwise to. I have like a small list of like, you know, they're not injuries, but like kind of like reoccurring aches and pains. So being smart about those things. And the number 2, big sets is the goal. On all 3 lifts, I really want to make sure that I am getting like big performances done right now. Everything's going to be above 5 reps, but like I want to get into like some new territory. So to break down goals on each lift. So squat, I would need to be in that 830 to 840 range. And so the keys to success for phase 2 that you guys are going to watch probably the first half of in this video are, first of all, I really want to work on my hinge. I think for the phase 1, my work capacity phase, my kind of big mistake is we know that like I'm able to display strength more maximally if I have a slightly better forward lean in my squat. You know, I have a tendency, because I think like my back gets beat up when I'm doing a lot of work, is that like I kind of lean towards more and more upright, but that's not how I squat the biggest weights. So really working on making sure I'm like kind of sitting into my posterior chain and working on that hinge. In squat specifically, I want to hit a set that I'm confident, and me and Sam have talked about this, that it is something that we know I have not been capable of in the past. I've hit some big sets on the big Saturday model, and I want to get, you know, push that a little bit farther. Really get into like some sets that are like, I'm a new type of lifter for having done that, and I think that's going to be really set me up for success in that 830 or 840 squat. Obviously, building volume, very good. That is a thing that most of you guys should be doing, and it's certainly something I should be doing going forward. But for this phase, I think to get to that next level, I think to express that level of strength, I think we're going to need to chase a couple of really big sets. Bench, I think the goal would be like 505 to 510, maybe 512, depending on the prep. Bench, if you guys have followed me for a long time, has been probably my most inconsistent performance on the platform. So we're kind of changing from, Sam has called it, more of a technical bencher to more of like a power, speed, heave-based bencher. So 2 goals there. Progress speed. Obviously, I think if you're trying to become like more of like a power-based bencher, I think actually like, you know, I've got a bar speed tracker. I'm using that as a metric and making sure that's actually progressing. And it's not just like background of like, oh, I'm trying to chase speed. Like metrically, I should be progressing my speed session to session. That's gonna be a big one, I think, for me this block. And the second one is being really consistent at high percentages. I think that was kind of my issue last block as we were doing, you know, I was getting into the heave, my last meet prep, and I would have these really inconsistent like performances at higher percentages. If you guys notice in this next phase, I'm gonna be touching much heavier weights than I normally would in phase 2. And that's just, I wanna get a lot of like big practice at those higher percentages, because that was like kind of when my technique really started to decay. I could do really big sets of 7, I could do a really big set of 8, big set of 6, and then we'd get down to that like 3, 2, 1 range, and I just could not consistently perform my heave. I'd like miss groove all the time. So making sure I can consistently hit high percentages, I think is gonna be a really big key, because like I think I have, you know, I benched 510 before, so I've already done this. The key is to get into a position that like during this phase, this whole block, obviously I have my background, build big muscles, but I want to make sure that I want becoming a more technical bencher, because I think that's going to be the thing to set me up for that 1,000 kilo, is the ability to be like, I am skilled, but also I have, right now I have the frame for it. I need to become like the kind of lifter who can consistently execute at that weight range. Deadlift, the goal is going to be 845 to 855, I think is what's going to take it to round out that 1,000 kilo total. If you watched my last meet video, did not go that well. I missed my third attempt at like 820, so numerically that's the largest jump in terms of my meet PR. I'll be honest, I've pulled 835 in the gym to what I would say is definitively comp standard, but I think the two big things on my deadlift to make sure I can perform at this level are grip, which I have had a problem with. It's not come up, it's not like fully bit me yet, but Sam and I have known that like for a long time, grip has been an issue and could potentially kind of derail this. Is dropping my third pull. So one of my sessions, half of it is just dedicated to purely grip, and I'm doing more additional grip work on top of that. I want to make sure I have fucking hands of iron so I don't drop my goddamn deadlift. Writing a little bit under Professor Whiskers. Shout out my girlfriend for adding that. But the second one is I want to be hitting big sets on deadlift. Same thing as the goal of phase 2, as I want to be performing these like larger, higher rep sets consistently and get into that new territory. But I also would really like to have consistent RDL or stiff leg deadlift progress, depending on what we end up doing for that. So making sure that those are like chipping along. I think durability has kind of been an issue on deadlift. I think we really got on top of that last block during my meet prep with the inverted volume, but also it didn't shake out into an all-time PR, which I think is something to be addressed. So I think that big set is going to do a lot for being like, we're in at least the money this far out, and then the RDL progress I think is both going to like make the engine bigger for my deadlift, but also make it me more injury resilient. So yeah, phase 2, let's get after it, follow along, big sets. What's up, lads? I just finished the first big Saturday. Went really good. I'm honestly stoked. I got a 585 for 9, which it's like a 60-pound PR or something. Obviously, I could have beaten that for a while, but I'm really glad to start off strong. Boy, howdy, that shit wiped me out. Very, very hard, very, very productive session. I did pause deadlifts and then leg press and abs afterwards. I'm happy to be back on the big Saturday formula, and I'm glad to start off with a really productive session. My pacing was a little poor. I think I could have done that session much faster and still been as productive. I gave myself quite a bit of time, and I was running out towards the end. But it's time to go eat a bunch of beef and rice slop and do a little bit of my job. And then it's board game night with the boys. The mind is strong. I will not drown.
Slop. Slop complete.
And for the upper body section, I thought I'd give you guys another voiceover. This is 430 for 3. As I said in the plans section, I'm really trying to push a big triple. So this is a little bit below my all-time best triple, just trying to get those consistent performances in. So after my cool GPP phase, I was a little banged up. So this was like kind of my like pseudo deload week as the start of the big Saturday formula. Did 545 for 7. Here is 435 for 3. Basically, every week I start off with a triple, and we're just slowly progressing that. I think that's kind of going to be the key to me having a really good meet, is the ability to like really consistently hit these percentages, and we're just slowly going to ramp them up. It's funny to like start a quote-unquote like hypertrophy. Oh, I missed that one. Haha. And then here is 305 on my incline. What I was going to say is I just want to really make sure I can consistently perform, and those percentages will just slowly scale. And then my secondary lower day is actually like kind of like a I don't know if you want to call it like athleticism day, but I do like jumps, kettlebell swings, leg extensions, and then kind of like a pure just like building the legs up. Here's my speed day with, I think this is 280. Like I said, big goal, trying to drive the speed, and some cool behind the neck Smith pressing. My God, what a beast. I've been training in the garage for this session, and it's funny, I kind of had to realize, like, oh shit, I didn't treat this like a real serious session. Here is my pull-ups. Still just trying to chip away on progressing at these. I would be lying if I said there were not times that I'm like, oh, wow, kind of embarrassing how much worse at pull-ups I've gotten. But also, I'm 345. Here is 440, which actually matches my all-time best triple. Just slowly catching my big numbers with the new technique model. Really happy with that. And then just another set of incline. I've been really enjoying these burnouts. I mentioned it last time, but I think just kind of a very fun way for me to be like, this is a plane of pressing that I'm bad at. We'll just push hard on getting that stronger. And then another speed bench day. I included this twice this time just because I really was kind of thinking of this as like a lower priority. That was a really silly way because it was an opportunity to chase the variable that we wanted to get better at. Here is 420 on my Larson press. These are getting strong. This is I think a set of 4, which a failed set of 4. I did not realize I included 2 fails in here. I guess it's just part of going for those big percentages and chasing consistent performances. Here are my dips. Really like a big part of my bench progression has just been spamming the shit out of dips. And here's some of that jumping. So this is my secondary lower day. It's kind of been like dynamic warm-up, a little bit more athleticism stuff, and then just absolutely killing my quads and hamstrings. I am really happy with how hard I've been pushing this and how productive it's been feeling. Cool recovery walk guy. I've got to go to work for a little bit, and then big Saturday part fucking 2. It is actually Sunday morning, but second big Saturday in a row that I think went about as well as it could have. Good baseline on the deadlift. I'm pretty happy. My RDL set was like relatively good compared to my like all-time best sets, and then I like kind of sandbagged the second set, trying to play safe. I really wanted to like all dig deep and go for another huge set, but it's like, my back's a little more fried than I think we wanted. Really happy with how that went overall. And then I ate just an enormous amount of food. I had a big smoothie and a steak, and I went to sleep early. Sam and I were talking about like when you have like this like focused big session, sometimes you'll like finish it up and you'll be like, oh, time to celebrate. You'll stay up a little bit later or whatever. And big focus has been just like, I need to immediately start recovering because I could drive a lot of stimulus. Obviously that was more of a baseline, 575 or 7, not a PR, just a good set. We're going to progress into those big sets. But as I get into those big sets, making sure that after I do that session, I'm in recovery mode. And this is 4:45 for a new all-time triple PR. Just chipped it. I was thinking about saving this for the next video, but I think I've got another big rep PR for the next time. So, yeah. What's up, fellas? I'm driving home from work right now, and I've got my training thought of the week to share. I feel like I was like halfway through this week, and I was like, man, this is kind of feeling like a little bit of a dud week. It's not bad. I had one bad night of sleep. I wasn't like doing horrible on my diet, but I was just like, man, I feel like I'm in a little bit of a rut. And I think I probably gave into that a little bit more than I should have. And I got to thinking, and Sam and I have talked about this concept that like the body is always trying to like return to a state of like being stiff, and like as an athlete, it's kind of your job to like keep moving, like kind of like break up that stiffness over the course of the day. Whether that means just going on a walk after your meals, or like stretching at your desk if you work a desk job, that kind of stuff. And I think my like mind works in kind of a similar way, in that like I'll have these like great moments of motivation, and then I slowly drift into like going into my habits. And my habits are pretty good for training. I don't think I'm going to become like a new like tier of lifter just relying off my habits, you know? To like become something new, you got to do something new. And in that same way, it's like I don't want like discipline or motivation or whatever you want to call it. I think of it as like a state of being like, oh, I'm like really focused period, right? But like I don't just like randomly by chance be more locked in than I have in the past, right? It is like a recurring choice. It's like a series of like making better and better choices, and like having the desire, because it's like I'm not gonna like just like get fired up once and let that carry me through 6 months. This needs to be like a continuous and active, like every single day I am trying to do more and be more towards my goals.